Every morning, Arav woke up before the sun, not because he wanted to, but because his thoughts never slept. They pressed against his chest like a heavy stone, reminding him of everything he had not yet become. At 16, he already felt tired of the word tomorrow. It sounded like a promise that never kept itself. His room was small, with cracked paint and a single window that looked out onto a narrow street. People passed by every day, laughing, arguing, living, while Arav stayed still, as if life were happening somewhere else. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his hands, wondering why they felt so empty when his heart felt so full. At school, Arav blended into the background. Teachers spoke, students laughed, clocks ticked, and days passed. He listened to others talk about dreams, becoming doctors, engineers, artists, but his own dreams felt fragile, like glass that had already cracked. He once loved to write. Words used to flow like a river, carrying his feelings away. But somewhere along the way, fear built a dam. Fear of failing, fear of not being enough, fear of disappointing everyone who believed in him. At home, silence was loud. His parents worked long hours, carrying their own worries. They loved him deeply, but love doesn't always know how to speak. Arav didn't want to add to their burden, so he carried his emotions alone, stacking them one on top of another until the weight became unbearable. One evening, after a particularly hard day, Arav walked aimlessly through the streets. The sky was painted in fading orange and purple, as if even the day was tired of holding its light. He found himself at an old park, the kind people stopped visiting when newer things appeared. An elderly man sat on a bench, feeding crumbs to pigeons. His hair was white, his posture slow, but his eyes were alert, curious, kind. "You look like someone carrying a heavy bag," the man said gently, without looking up. Arav frowned. "I'm not carrying anything." The man smiled. "The heaviest things are invisible." Something about that sentence cracked open a door inside Arav. He sat on the bench, unsure why. Minutes passed in silence. "Do you know," the man continued, "that I failed more times than I can count?" Arav looked at him. "You don't look like a failure." "That's because failure is not a face," the man replied. "It's a teacher. Most people run away before the lesson is over." Arav swallowed. "What if I'm not strong enough to learn?" The man turned to him then, eyes warm. "Strength isn't loud. It doesn't shout or win races. Strength is waking up and trying again, even when you don't believe in yourself." That night, Arav went home with a strange feeling, not happiness, not relief, but something quieter. A small spark. The next day, he opened his old notebook. The pages were yellow, the ink faded. His hands trembled as he picked up a pen. His first sentence was messy, unsure, imperfect. But it existed, and that mattered. Days turned into weeks. Arav wrote when he felt sad, angry, confused. He wrote when words hurt and when they healed. Not every day was good. Some days he felt like giving up again. But now, he understood something new. Progress didn't mean feeling strong all the time. It meant continuing despite weakness. At school, he still struggled. Doubt didn't disappear overnight. But when fear whispered, "You're not enough," he answered, "Maybe not yet, but I'm trying." One afternoon, his teacher asked students to submit a personal essay. Arav hesitated. His hands shook as he turned it in. Waiting for the result felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. When the paper came back, there was a note written in red ink. "Your words carry honesty and depth. Don't stop writing. The world needs voices like yours." Arav stared at the page, heart pounding. For the first time in a long while, his chest felt lighter. That evening, he returned to the park. The bench was empty. The pigeons scattered crumbs on the ground. Arav sat down and smiled softly. He realized something important then. Motivation doesn't always come as a rush of confidence. Sometimes, it comes as a quiet decision, to stay, to try, to hope. Life didn't suddenly become easy. There were still hard mornings and sleepless nights. But Arav learned that emotions weren't enemies. Sadness taught empathy. Fear taught caution. Pain taught strength. And hope taught him to keep walking. Years later, Arav would look back and understand that the weight he carried was not a burden meant to crush him. It was a